Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals. Welcome to Doha. It is the women's doubles final. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Hong Kong, China, Hoi Kem and Ching. And please welcome from Japan, Hina, HAYATA and Yui HAMAMOTO. Kindly acknowledge your officials. The umpire from Austria is Werner Koller. And the assistant umpire from India is Sridhar Srinivasa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Hoi Kem and Ching against Yui HAMAMOTO and Hina HAYATA. It is the women's doubles final.
Greetings from Doha, day 4, finals day of our extensive live coverage of the Seamaster Qatar 2016 ITTF World Tour Grand Finals. The season finale of the ITTF World Tour, which had 20 stops in 2016. Here, we started with 63 players competing for 6 gold medals and a chunk of the generous $500,000 prize. 63 players whittled down today to 16. This afternoon, we're crowning the medalists in the doubles and the singles events. By the close of play, we would have seen 6 winners. We started in the under-21s. Now, with the doubles, then the women's singles final, followed by the men's singles final. These athletes are the most successful across the 20 World Tour stops year-round. They are the best in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and gorge on them, showcasing their talents. The pretenders have come and gone, and all we have left are the contenders. I'm Paul Hand, alongside me.
Thanks, Paul. Good to be here. I'm excited for this women's doubles final. We've got a lot of young players out here, so we're going to see some fresh, fast pace of play. Should be exciting, Paul.
Absolutely. So we've got Hoi Kem, right of your picture there, and Ching from Hong Kong, aligned with the under-21s women's singles. It's Hong Kong again against Japan. And Lee took out the top seeds for love at 2 p.m. yesterday. Hyun of Korea, they played faster, ousted them by being closer to the table. Really smart play from them. Also, they took out the 4th seeds 4-3 prior to that. Ching and Twang Yi-Hao of Taipei. Now, can the player in your picture just then, Hoi Kem, avenge her defeat earlier in the under-21s to the loss of the opponent the other side of the net in a second, Hina HAYATA?
Yeah, that is an interesting question to see how it factors in. Of course, the memory is going to be not forgotten anytime soon. It's arguably the biggest match of Hoi Kem's career, the World Tour Grand Finals final for under-21 women, and Hina HAYATA was just too strong, taking back the lead in a very crucial turning point in the match. Hoi Kem's game yesterday against the Korean pair was so good in the receive, that backhand where she generates so much spin and speed. It's the modern Chiquita, the banana flip from over the table. Again, in the women's game, we don't see many players doing that. It's a signature for Fan Zhendong. You'll see Ma Long doing it as well later today. Zhang Jiko, of course, when he's playing. Tons of wrist, and the reason you see that is it's so difficult to generate spin and speed from over the table with the forehand side. There's less room for a stroke. But the short stroke from the backhand, still all the spin coming from the wrist. It takes a lot of strength to get back to the backhand corner after doing it, but Hoi Kem has shown that she's capable. Yui HAMAMOTO we haven't seen as much of on the TV table in this tournament. Probably the tallest player in the Japanese women's team, still up and coming. Yui HAMAMOTO very steady, a lot of power, and you'll get to see the fluidity of her shot. I know we've talked about Jung Young-shik's backhand a lot this tournament, how fluid he is considering his height. It's quite important, and Yui Hamamoto, very similar at only 18 years old. You'll be quite impressed with her power on both sides.
Yeah, and good to see them here. They're surprise finalists, these two, seeded 7th and world ranked 18th. They ousted the 7th seeds in their opening match, the Russians, Dolgik and Mikhailova. Well, that was a good win for them, 4-1. And then in the semi-finals, taking out the 2nd seeds, Hashimoto and Sato yesterday, 4-2. So only conceding 3 games, remarkably. Well, they haven't won a title together this year on the World Tour, but still, what a force they are. And the top spin duo, both of them, should be interesting. These guys, on the other hand, seeded 5th, ranked 7th. They won the Croatian Open earlier in the year.
Well, Paul, there are a few things you bring up that are quite interesting. One, both of these teams are from the bottom half. You only have 8 teams in this competition for the tournament, and we're looking at 5th and 7th. Neither of these were expected to make it to the 2nd round by seeding. Not only that, the teams that you brought up that Hina Hayata and Yui Hamamoto beat were both defending players. So each team, they've only played choppers so far. And it's a little bit of a change to go from playing against choppers to playing against 2 all-out attackers. But at the same time, the attacking game is far more common, so it's what you'd imagine they're used to. It's their default is playing attackers.
So we should be looking for some fireworks then, Adam, in that regard. Should be exciting rallies. But of course, the winner of this will be in very esteemed company because the holders of the women's doubles title, Ding Ning and Zhu Yuling. How about that? So, well, that enough to make you nervous in itself. Here we are then, just about to get underway in this women's doubles final. You're in the company of Paul Hand and Adam Bobrow. Great to have you along.
Great to be here.
On this.
Let's do it. By the way, best of 7, unlike the other World Tour doubles events. They'll hope they're off the top of the net for the Hong Kong pair to take the first point.
Teams surprise finalists, and both teams conceding only 3 games to get here, both very much on form.
Speaking of form, look how hard they're hitting it back and forth throughout. Again, coming out the gates, firing. Now this is 2 points in a row, Paul, that we didn't touch on it before the match, but in doubles, typically, it is talked about. 2 right-handed players are gonna have a little bit more trouble in their positioning. And in blue, the Hong Kong pair are both right-handed. The Japanese pair, lefty-righty, can take more forehands, should have an easier time with positioning. That being said, a ball up near the net, driven way out wide, jams it right back into Yui Hamamoto, creating the traffic jam. And that's, you know, the I got your back. This is literal here, exactly.
I'll sting your back. So, of course, Du wanted to avenge her defeat earlier in the under-21 women's singles. And for Hina Hayata, going for the double. Just having a clean sweep in that regard. 21's women's singles and now the women's doubles as well. If she could do that, that would be something really special at this level. And that would signify as well, if she were to do so, Adam, a real coming of age for Hina Hayata.
Yeah, she's shown me on a few occasions, you know, with a World Tour title this year.
Australian
I mean,
Open.
That's quite impressive as a 16-year-old, especially with so many other strong young players, you know, Miu Hirano and Mima Ito. The competition is readily available for her, and usually wherever she's going. It's like playing the China Open all the time for Japan. It's constantly the Japan Open.
Three amigos, aren't they, the 16-year-old?
You kindly not use flash photography.
Ah, I see what's happening. The fans are showing up. The crowd is getting thicker here, and a few bright lights off in the distance shining out from the darkness can be quite distracting. The rare occasion that I look away from the TV screen to see what's happening in the crowd. You can really see the fluidity and the speed of the shots coming off both Hamamoto and Hina Hayata. That's the backhand we were talking about before. First opportunity, really puts the pressure on.
Adam, we spoke about Hina Hayata, myself and Johnny, as we were doing the under-21s women's singles earlier, and it was a really interesting conversation. We were saying, you know, being a left-hander from Japan, although Ding Ning is from China, obviously, but Ding Ning, you would imagine, would be a real good, not role model, but person to model yourself on, being, you know, one of the few lefties around the world. And we spoke about the variety that Ding brings with that reverse tomahawk and the regular tomahawk serve. And Hina Hayata has a lot of variety on her serves already. But of course, if she wants to go higher, you imagine she's got to keep adding these facets to her game just to ratchet up the rankings, right?
Right, well, as far as role models go nearby, Kasumi Ishikawa, a left-handed player that's readily available and quite high in the world rankings. Ding Ning, good role model for any player, right or left-handed, but clearly from a tactical standpoint, there are a lot of advantages that she gains being left-handed, using that. As far as reverse tomahawk serves, I think it was Shiho Matsudaira from Japan, and also Kenta Matsudaira, both very effective in that serve. One of the most difficult serves in the game. That's part of the reason you don't see many people doing it, and those who do really use it quite frequently.
So let's take that further. So acquiring something like that and honing that skill, you know, surely that wouldn't be a useful attribute to your skill bank, because others aren't seeing much of it, right? If you can get it down.
That's right. Again, the element of surprise, unfamiliarity is going to be so strong. Something you definitely want to have to your advantage, to be used in your, I guess, up your sleeve in the arsenal of serves that you have.
You've got to be thinking ahead, haven't you, as one of these players for the future, and thinking, you know, how can I add? What else can I bring? It's got to be a little fresh, got to be different, because in the crunch, these guys are seeing so much of the regular stuff. It's got to have a little edge. And Ding Ning, obviously, like Ma Long in the men's game, just brings so many of those funky, different, edgy sort of serves, albeit quite subtle to the untrained eye.
But here in this game, we've seen so many times Hina Hayata playing the line. Nothing wrong with some good old-fashioned shots, parallel, looping low to the net, catching somebody out of position, quick off the bounce. And this is something to be, I mean, if you really want to take, watching the top Chinese players, I mean, you know, the secrets, whatever they are doing is working. And it's not something that's just, oh, take it early off the bounce. I mean, their work ethic is greater than anybody. A lot of hard workers out there in the world, not to belittle any of the efforts around the world, the professionals all working so hard.
Well, that goes back to Hina Hayata. I mean, you know, half an hour before play, 40 minutes before play, she was out here just pounding balls, sweat just, you know, coming off her. She was working really hard with her coach. Lots of set plays, serve, return, set sequences, fascinating work rate. And that's at the end of the tournament.
Yeah, for these players, every match is its own universe. And after a big rush of points, Hong Kong making it quite a tight game here. 1 point gets away. This is a big break for Hina Hayata and Yui Hamamoto. Do Hoi Kem there. Just give me a moment here. Just give me a moment. I'm going to regroup. It's fun to narrate the inner monologue of a player.
A couple of game points then. They steal it at the first opportunity, so the Japanese then off to a flyer. 1 game to love. They lead 11 points to 8. Don't go anywhere.
So that is the first game to the partnership of Yui Hamamoto and Hina Hayata. Best of 7 games. They take the first game 11-8.
Back for game 2 then. The Hong Kong players with a little bit more to ponder. And the end of game change of ends. Ching to get us underway in game 2. Hina Hayata determined to do the double.
Second game, he deserved double.
You gotta love these points. Several soft shots in here, really testing the opponents to step back in and take it from out in front. The net recovery there by Hamamoto. Hoi Kem carefully spinning it, earns a soft shot. Look at this block running through. This is a drive-by shooting on the court. She just went running through and holds the racket up. Nobody there down the line. Look at this one more time. Oh, no problem for Hamamoto. Very smothering backhand there by Hina Hayata as well, right on top of the bounce. Quick, aggressive, angular play.
Well, that follows a wonderful receive from Doha, but it was just absolutely thumped back.
We talked about role models for the young left-handed player. Kasumi Ishikawa's been very strong at playing these angles as well, whether it's an inside-out forehand or even a backhand. Taking it early, playing it wide out to the right-handed forehand has been very effective so far for Hina Hayata.
1-3.
A little bit off the top of the net, but a crisp and quality forehand from Hina Hayata. Hoi Kem has won a lot of points this tournament with that heavy underspin serve from the forehand. Again, the contact is very subtle, so it's tough to read. But if we were able to get a close-up like this of that serve from Hoi Kem, you'd see how fine the angle of the racket is, how much it's opened up for her to just brush under.
She mixes it up a lot in terms of spin and length.
Now, another tactic that's been very well demonstrated throughout this tournament is when you get a high ball, hitting it right into the body, the crossover point, instead of trying to beat a player wide, often more effective. Beautiful recovery from Hoi Kem. Not easy to read how much spin is on it, but comes in with the open face of the racket. See this one more time off the top of the net here. Not easy to do. Hoi Kem, that is. Hoi Kem.
Just got it. A couple of points behind you on that.
No, it's okay.
Well done.
So Hoi Kem and Ching pulling off the upset against the top-seeded Koreans before this.
And that was a real upset, wasn't it? For love as well, a whitewash in that regard.
I mean, they had the #1 player on the court, Jun Ji-hee, paired up with the the mixed doubles world champion of 2015. Yang Hoon is a doubles specialist, so that is a tough team to beat.
Dangerous forehand flip kill there from Hina Hayata. Right over the table, look at this.
Talked about how left-handed players can be so effective in doubles, and one of the reasons is the positioning on the receive. You know which half of the table it's coming to. You can actually get in over the table around the corner as a left-hander. Smart play. Hoi Kem plays, forcing an attempted crossover.
To be fair, the serve sat up a little too high, didn't it?
I guess just high enough for Hoi Kem to make that shot. For a lot of players in the world, the serve was fine, but Hoi Kem making a great opportunity there, taking one anyway. And we didn't talk much about Lee Ho Ching's game. I call her Cool Hand Lee. Keeps herself really cool, very fluid in her strokes, very loose.
Do just getting on the front foot more often than not now, trying to rush the Japanese duo into error, something that they're particularly good at doing themselves.
Yeah, in doubles, it seems particularly important, the receive game. And this inside-out forehand here for an angle surprises Hamamoto. See where Ching takes this. Complete step around and the side spin on it. A little bit left on it from the receive. Hina Hayata's done that effectively before, where she cuts and adds some side spin to it. And that serve, it's becoming such a part of the women's modern game, that shovel serve. You've seen it in the Chinese women. You get a chance to see Zhu Yuling later in the women's singles final using it quite regularly. Hina Hayata. You know, a lot of the Japanese women actually have Chinese personal coaches. Coach sitting in the corner, Liu Jie from China, coaching the Japanese women. So now 4 game points for Hina Hayata and Yui HAMAMOTO. Ching has to be so focused to take this loop and counter it back low. Ball sits up just barely, but Ching comes across the body with the quick stroke. Barely has time to drop the racket on the forehand side, just comes up and stays on top of it. Quick decisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of body work around that as well, wasn't there? Bottom shape and loading in the legs. So 2 game points saved. Can they take this game further?
I guess the answer is yes. We'll see if it continues even more so. 3 saved game points.
A bit of tension there from HAMAMOTO, maybe. The business end of this game.
As strong as HAMAMOTO is, it seems like on the big stage she spent less time in the limelight than anyone else on the court. Ching once again with that cross the body inside out forehand to save the point. Crafty work. 4 game points saved by the Hong Kong pair and a chance to tie it up at 1 game each. Crowd getting behind the Hong Kong pair. We got a lot of Hong Kong fans here in Qatar. Today especially, Paul. I think they just like to see a comeback. Point out of the last 5 earns them another game point.
Hayata taking ownership for the Japanese duo. Yui HAMAMOTO just seemingly a little tense.
Well, surprising Hayata. Ching once again steps up. It's a big opening backhand from HAMAMOTO. So amazing to watch how in sync their movement is. Hoi Kem already starting to circle back behind Ching once she starts, even before she starts her stroke, to be in position for the next ball. Now when you come across like that as 2 right-handed players, it's quite easy to feel like your racket might touch the leg of your teammate. This is the fine balance of making sure you're out of the way but not too far out of the way to lose position for the next ball.
Another game point opportunity then.
This is the backhand receive from the start of this match and through the Koreans. Hoi Kem, watch the tuck. Doesn't even tuck back as far as usual, but still doesn't telegraph. Keeps it a surprise where she's going to go.
6-point towel down.
Yeah.
Locked in. Juice again. The Japanese, the marginal underdogs, just 9 spots between them on the world rankings. These guys world ranked 7th. HAMAMOTO Hayata 18th.
Little hesitation there from Ching. She's looked for the attack and found it almost every other point since deuce. And even coming into it, actually, but here the soft shot pays off. This is when soft hands in the short game can be really effective, when you know the opponent's looking for the ball to come long. forehand attacks from the right-handed Hong Kong pair. Hoi Kem setting it up. Big shot right here puts Hina Hayata off the table a little bit. Hina Hayata still holds her balance pretty well. Has to back off after the reach. Back at deuce. Well, look at this, Paul.
Turning it around. Great work from the favorites in blue. What do they say, 5 game points already? Remarkable.
At least, I think, just 4 to get to deuce.
Just a little clarity. After the receive, I want you to do this.
She got the long ball. Heavy push. One more time. Hayata, not a heavy push, rather, my bad. It was the flip, light spin, though.
Getting into one of the longest games of the tournament.
I think, yeah, the longest that I recall was a 16-14.
Yeah.
We're going to be at least that here. Wow, that is a huge shot. Ching taking it late and putting on more power than I've seen. It's like a fadeaway forehand counter loop. She's leaning back on one foot with the body weight up to hit it back that hard, and the placement right on the big middle. Again, Yui Hamamoto, a bigger middle because she's a taller player.
Being on the back foot as well, she has to rotate a lot more because she's got no path to go down through.
Right.
Oh, she's found the edge. Hamamoto, beautiful off forehand, timely as well.
It's a good shot no matter how you look at it. A little unfortunate for Hoi Kem, but it's going to be a tough ball to get back, even if it hits the top of the table clean. You don't see Hayata missing too many of those forehands when she has the time to set up. The forehand has actually been quite deadly since the under-21 final, but that one goes long by a lot. Could have been a missed contact off the top edge of the racket. Game point back to Hoi Kem and Lee Ho Ching. And it pays off the backhand receive to the short side. So game 2 is taken by the Hong Kong pair, 17-15, the highest scoring game on TableTennista. And we're back for game 3.
17-15, one game more.
Players making their way back to the table then. Ready for game 3, and what a contest unfolding here in this women's doubles final. Really is exciting stuff. Just, what was it, 4 or 5 game points for a 2-love lead there to Hina Hayata and Yui Hamamoto, but denied. Yu and Lee just salvaging the game, pulling it out the fire. So deadlock here, all to play for.
As long as you can get a racket on it, the amount of angle you can put back is even wider than the one before. This is why it's dangerous sometimes to play a wide ball if it's within reach, and why so many players attack the middle first.
really enjoying what they're watching now, getting right into this one. Multiple clappers. I think it's a tough dynamic on this player, Yui Hamamoto. You know, playing with Hina HAYATA, who's just won the tournament in the singles event, under 21s that is, and you know, it's almost like really well to keep up with what she's bringing. You know, I don't want to let her down. I don't want her not to do the double. It's a kind of pressure in itself, right? Obviously, it takes a strong character to deal with that.
You know, it really depends on each individual. It could go either way. She could feel extra confident playing with someone so strong. You know, I don't think it's going to make her relax.
The reason I say, Adam, is she looks quite stone-faced and almost tense within that.
Maybe that is how she's taking it. Maybe the way you mentioned it is adding pressure to her. But I think, once again, we really have to look at who's on the other side of the table, and credit to Hoi Kem and Ching. They're just playing outstandingly well. Pressure at every opportunity, looking for every forehand attack, and even the backhands early in the point, especially Hoi Kem over the table. And this time, both Hong Kong players with the backhands, with the forehand inside out goes just wide. You know, as far as confidence goes, it's so interesting. It's tough to read someone's confidence. Hoi Kem, I had a chance to talk with for her Ask a Pro Anything interview about her outward appearance. With a little luck off the top of the net, I'll continue to tell you. Hoi Kem mentioned that she cut her hair short at a young age because she found herself crying all the time and felt weak inside, and thought that by making a tougher appearance on the outside, it might actually trigger a follow-up performance. So she went for more of a boyish look, is what she said.
It's funny you say that. She was at breakfast table this morning with the cap just tilted off to the side on an angle. A bit of a gangster like herself.
She does, no. She looks a lot like a rapper in her casual clothes, and you'll see the word boy written across her hat. I think it is part of the persona in an attempt to sort of bring a bit more either testosterone to the game or confidence, and even in her style of play, you know, the over-the-table receive, she plays more of a man's game.
I said to her last night, good luck tomorrow. You'll be the first person from Hong Kong to win the singles title under 21. You know, and she just pumped her fist as if to say, that's going to be me.
And she definitely has some good determination and a great personality. From a confidence standpoint, though, when I asked her if the appearance thing was working to make her tougher on the inside, she said no, it's not. She still cries when she loses, and she still feels like there's something missing. And after beating Liu Shiwen in Hong Kong, the world #1 at the time, she has the potential, but here this one gets away. It sits up high, and that's one of those shots that haunts you if you end up losing the game after that. The difference between 4-7 and 5-6. It's a big break for the Japanese pair.
HAYATA doing well there, just to sort of shovel that up and make something of it, make that extra ball on the table.
Hina HAYATA, the alchemist, making gold out of nothing here. Look at how difficult this ball is. Below the table, she's falling back, and still with topspin keeps it low to the net to keep the pressure on. Which way Zhang there? Again, came over with Tieyana years back. A double specialist,
Yeah,
you were saying, Paul.
Yeah. Very good player. Tieyana, as you say, amongst others. And she's a very humble lady as well, very outspoken.
Little extra spin there. Ching gets a clean opening attack on the forehand. And again, the very smooth stroke of Ching. Just given a little bit too much room at the back of the table. A good eye to recognize it's coming long and set up with the full stroke. Oh, they get the point! It looked like for sure it was over. Ching smacking it back. Hoi Kem saves one. This right here, that's the flat hit right back. And then from way off the table, Hoi Kem a little bit shallower on the bounce, but it's tough for Hayata to stay on top of with that shallow bounce.
Just when you thought they were closing in on game 3, denied again, see? Now this is smart. This is where it all kind of untangled in the business end of that second game for the Japanese duo. And cleverly, either them or the coaches called the timeout. Let's just assure this.
Coach Wu Jed, the corner for the Japanese pair, wants to make sure. Right now, the Japanese players take the third game. It's still early in the match. Again, this is a best-of-7 encounter. And something like this can be a bit demoralizing. A point, while it's only worth 1 point, a point of that caliber can definitely have a lasting effect. And if it has a lasting effect, it starts to break down the psychology of the Japanese players. 1 point could quickly become 3, and then we're at 9-9. Could go either way.
Exactly. How often you see that when it's been a really dynamic turnaround, which the Blues just did, but clever. Timeout call was just ultra smart. It'll be interesting to see how the Japanese resume the crunch end of this third game. They've been so close to snatching that second, denied. Can they get this one?
And step into my DeLorean for a second. I want to turn back the clock. Game 2, down 6-10. Hong Kong won 4 points in a row before coming back to win 17-15. So a 6-9, I mean, this is even more within reach for the Hong Kong pair.
But not with an edge ball like that, it's not. It could prove costly. A momentary lapse in concentration, and it's 4 game points. The relative underdogs. Oh, what a fantastic backhand receive. Warp-like speed on a hinged wrist.
Wrong player hits it twice in a row. The point goes to the Hong Kong pair. Classic tactic. Again, bring it right back to the person who just hit the ball. Hoi Kem, hungry like the wolf out there, looking for the opportunity. Duran, great. Gotta love him. So 2 game points saved.
Deja vu this, we've already seen, haven't we? Can they put a lid on it here on this receive? Denied by the net this time. And you know, it only takes a few of these, and suddenly you start getting really tight, right? That's what can happen here.
You know, and in near the body, that shovel serve, the delivery of the racket, it's tough to tell what part of the ball is being contacted. Hoi Kem's so subtle, but catching mostly bottom of the ball as she comes around the outside of it as well. So heavy underspin, earning the net ball back. 1 more point to go in the serve to tie it up. Oh, what a beautiful shot. HAMAMOTO showing up at a clutch moment there with that forehand to finish. Point could have gone either way, and had it gone the way of Hong Kong, things get quite complicated for the young Japanese pair without their timeout left. So 2-1, the Hong Kong pair leading, or the other way around actually, Japan leading 2-1 over the Hong Kong pair. Game 4 coming up right after this.
Back for 4th game then. Blues still trailing as the underdogs here. Well, they're the senior seeds, but in terms of the scoreline, they're the underdogs, trailing a game to 2 now. Japanese duo really turning it on in style at the back end of that third game.
Now this is one time where with a high ball, not playing it in the body, was wise enough. Lee Ho-Ching saw that she could hit it out of the reach of the wide wingspan of Yui Hamamoto. Hamamoto right there to try and recover a ball into the middle of the body.
Little blasé there. That was a pop-up receive and not taken advantage of. Just a lapse in concentration from Hoi Kem. Ching quick to pounce on that backhand. Pulled the trigger down the line there beautifully.
Yeah, a little bit more attempted side spin on this banana receive. Doesn't come down. Hoi Kem has been quite drilling with that over-the-table backhand. And again, she sprays it everywhere. We've seen it cross court. We've seen it down the line. It's quite unpredictable. Hina Hayata on the run, able to jam up Lee Ho-Ching, forcing an uncomfortable shot. Think about how much responsibility Hina Hayata just to even get the ball back in play, but it's not enough. She gets it back and hits it perfectly deep on the table, shutting down the opponent.
Everybody opting for the towel. Occasionally you'll see that one side does, one doesn't, and they're just ready to carry on. Normally it's a momentum issue.
Beautiful off the bounce again, running through the court. The pressure that the Hong Kong pair is putting on shot after shot. Even Hoi Kem right there with that quick raise of the arm on the wide forehand. Again, this is why you have to keep your racket head up. I think it's one of the easiest things for competitors to forget at the early stages of competition. Quality of point right now. Every point feels like a highlight point out here. Players running around all over the court, near and far. Yui Hamamoto with the block right in at the table. Responsibility on the Hong Kong pair right now with the serve to take this game. So in game one, Paul, Yui Hamamoto, we were talking about maybe the pressure building up, didn't appear to be delivering quite as much to the pair, but now she's making some clutch shots since the end of last game. I mean, we see much more aggression, creativity on the service receive.
She looks more animated and expressive as well.
Now, personalities on and off the court can differ for sure, but Yui Hamamoto, very quiet, very reserved, very shy. The Japanese women's team, we have a lot of howlers, a lot of players that really fight and scream and squeal, celebrate for every point, show their emotion vividly. Hina Hayata is actually one of those players. So it's interesting to see the pairing working with each other. A quiet fist pump and a big cho or sa, whatever it may be.
Interestingly, these two in black have won 60% matches won in women's doubles on the tour this year. Their opponents 71.43, so 10% more. So just that little bit more sort of celebrated, a little bit more used to winning. The team in blue, they're up against it. What's at stake out here? The winners are going to pocket trouser a check for 18,000 US. Runners up 9,000. That's as a team. They'll need sharing. Do they do sharing, Adam?
Well, they will be
would
sharing
you share
the
with
check.
me?
I am sharing with you right now. If you want more, just let me know. I've got plenty. Wow, look at this 1-point game here. The Japanese pair making their comeback. Is it 5-3 for Hoi Kem and Lee Ho-Ching?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, no.
Oh, what? Oh.
What happened?
Same person hit it twice or something?
Okay. It was quite confusing. Let's see here. Oh, it looked like it hit the racket and then hit the body of Hamamoto?
Yeah.
That would have been crazy. Back edge. Happens so fast. Sometimes only in replay can we really understand what just happened. And not for lack of watching the sport either.
Well, we were saying yesterday how wouldn't it be great, and of course it's a big cost balance, isn't it, though, but to have that slow cam. You were talking about when the ball cracked in the Fan Zhendong Ovcharov encounter. What an epic
the video replay.
Yeah. But it's expensive just for those odd occasions.
It's partially that. It's also, I think, the rules. Changing, you know, in any governing body, it's if the rule changes, and there's the slow-mo replay for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Off the arm. Still cool, the placement. What a perfect off-the-arm shot. She just has to call it first. Bank. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, get extra points for that.
Just going to say before about rule changes, though. If they're too easy to change, they don't hold much water. They don't hold much weight. So they really have to evaluate carefully before they want to introduce a new system or a new rule. I know it's always uncomfortable for athletes when too many things are changing too quickly. So they try to change as little as possible. Be selective about what they choose to change when and where.
Oh, the recent ball change was quite a big thing, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it was the conversation. It's still a conversation. The players not as much, not for size. I mean, what 2014? It's been a few years now that they've had a chance to get used to the difference. I know my first tournament playing with the 40 plus, it was quite frustrating. It was quite unfamiliar, but it's not really to much advantage or disadvantage. Both players are playing with it.
So early off the bounce, both of the Japanese players, they're right on top of that point. Didn't want to yield any territory at all, staying close to table. Very effective.
How fast these shots are going back and forth, too. Hina Hayata's down the line. The pressure, and this is a pressure that you feel especially in doubles, to make a quality shot every shot because it's for your teammate as well. You're setting them up.
Still game point for the Hong Kong players.
Beautiful way to do it. The grunt from down near the ground. Hoi Kem way off the table, puts in the extra effort, the extra muscle, and it pays off. The threat from down low and far away. Hong Kong takes it 11-9 to reverse it, tie it up. Game 5, we'll see who takes the lead right after this.
So, back for game 5 then, locked in at 2 games all. Just watching the tail end of game 4 there. A real nail biter this one. Let's hope we go the distance. We're being treated to some world-class table tennis out here. These top athletes. Women's doubles final in the company of Adam Bobrow and Paul Hand. Great having you along. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. Hopefully the passion oozes through.
Look at the body language of Hina Hayata pulling the rag doll out there. A little bit disappointed. Yeah, you can see that from time to time. You know, we talked about the Japanese women in the program, how the positive head shakes, staying positive, getting ready and prepared for the next point mentally is so common, more than any other national association I've seen. Beautiful placement. Hamamoto on the run again, exploiting the open forehand. It hasn't been an issue as much as you might expect for two right-handed players. Hoi Kem and Ching really moving in sync, knowing each other's strengths. That ball right at the back of Hoi Kem. Oh, surprise, surprise, Hamamoto. Yeah, was covering the backhand side. Watch where Hoi Kem goes with this. Into the table. As soon as Hamamoto starts to move one direction, Hamamoto takes it, I'm sorry, Hoi Kem takes advantage of the momentum, goes the other way. Oh, chop block comes down. Ching, that's still a difficult ball. Whenever there's a bit of side spin on it, Ching and Hina Hayata, just like batting practice, takes it out to the opposite side. Wow, confidence.
That's what winning the under-21 women's singles title does for you.
Right. Ching doing quite a similar to receive to the Hoi Kem.
And what about burnout, Adam? You know, we're talking about these young athletes, the majority of them 16, particularly in the Japanese camp. Are they likely to burn out as a consequence of playing so much high-level match table tennis early in their lives? Or is their program really strictly managed in terms of, you know, choice of tournament, where they go, and trying to keep them on a win-loss ratio 70-30%? You know, I'm just curious.
Sure.
I'm not expecting you to have those answers, by the way.
No, I have a thought.
You know.
Oh, after all that work, the 360 in the back of the court comes down, but the soft shot left out in front. Outstanding point, spectacular for the crowd. I thought it was a 360. I guess she just turned her back to the table pretty much. Either way, tough point to finish that way for Hong Kong. This one will not come down. Just to address the question you stated so eloquently before, as far as burnout, I think it really depends on what's waiting at the end of the rainbow. I mean, for the Japanese women, you've got a lucrative career of celebrity and stardom in your country, so there's no reason to burn out. You really want what you're fighting for. If you play for a country, you know, in the United States right now, we're working on it, it's developing, but people get to college, they don't really see a career. They stop playing, they do burn out. And it's going to take some trailblazers. You have to be someone in your country who pulls an Hugo Calderano. Says, you know what, Brazil doesn't have a huge career of legends that have played the sport, but I'm looking at making it into the top 10. Hugo Calderano showing some outstanding potential to do just that.
Well said.
And I think that's what it is to be a trailblazer, to see something where no one else sees it, to take that risk and to go for it, full commitment. So yeah, I don't see these young players burning out anytime soon. For me, the question is, Tomokazu Harimoto, ahead of the rest of the world at his age, what's hiding right now in China? What are the 13-year-olds like in China? How would they battle against Harimoto? They're just not given the opportunities to play quite as much. You mentioned that it was the C team that was playing the World Junior Championships from China. That's quite interesting. And then even for Harimoto, if he's ahead of the pack, how does he stay there? Who's pushing him?
And are they bringing the C team just in that very regard? They want to actually protect those relative kids, you know, in a way. Yeah, but maybe it's too much, too young sort of thing. And this exposure can be, there's quite a lot of pressure out there, not just on the body, but the mind as well. Grow up fast in this arena.
Yeah, so I think for the Japanese women, the setup they have right now is outstanding to really produce you know, look at the world rankings. Just go to ITTF.com and see how many Japanese women are in the top 30 right now. It's amazing. It's far more than China.
Well, we only had to look at this tournament, didn't we? Women's singles, what was it, 6 from 16? Amazing. In the under 21 women,
6 out of 8.
Yeah,
that's right.
Remarkable.
Well, we're almost at 6 from 8 here. We'll see. Japan up 7-6. Just too long this time. The side spin high shot from Lee Ho Ching does not come down. Hamamoto with the surprise here. The placement on the table, she really does keep it so unpredictable. The clear forehand, just enough for her to get creative and pick her placement. Little change of pace leaves it out in front of Lee Ho Ching. Again, it's been such a fast-paced match so far.
Yeah, very high tempo rally quality.
The opening there for Lee Ho Ching, the pressure definitely on. But the opening in space, look at the positioning here. Hayata way out on the backhand corner. And now 4 game points for the young Japanese pair to take a 3-2 lead.
And this is the pattern of the match, isn't it? Japanese sort of get into the ascendancy by a game and then they're pegged back. And I wonder what will happen should they do just that. Denied again. We've seen this before, haven't we?
Yeah, deja vu. The second deja vu.
Yeah.
Big inside out.
Deja vu.
That inside out forehand from Lee Ho Ching. Really solid. It came in on several occasions in the past. Game 2 when they were down 6-10. Lee Ho Ching made several shots across the body just like this. It's been a key ingredient here in the cake that could equal success.
Rizhang.
Yeah, the coach for the Hong Kong pair watching closely. 2 serves now with the Hong Kong pair. And that one gets away. The forehand opportunity. Hoi Kem takes it a little bit later, trying to spin it up with a bit of side spin as well. It goes just long, so Japan 11-8 for a 3-2 lead. We'll be back for game 6. It could be the last. Find out right after this. All right, back for game 6. Lee Ho Ching to start off with the serve. Hong Kong pair down 2-3. The quality of point, amazing. There are 2 shots in this rally back to back. Hamamoto, let's see if we get to see the shot. That one there, almost pulling a Zhang Jiku squatting to the ground, but still gets right back up. Hoi Kem with an uncomfortable shot off the body to follow. Second bounce on the table, a short serve. I guess a half-long serve on the shorter side anyway. Fools Hamamoto. Well placed down the middle for Lee Ho Ching with the punching backhand.
Yes, not smart play, not rendering any angle to the opponents there. Well, again, Du struck in the receive very, very well, but unfortunate net cord against her.
We talked about identity a little bit, confidence, and all that. Du Hoi Kem is actually known as Karen in school.
Karen?
Yep.
Where's that come from?
Her parents chose different names for her. So I forgot which was which, but one of her parents chose Karen. The other one wanted Du Hoi, so I think one of them got to choose the English. You know, in Hong Kong, there's a lot of English.
Right.
So in school, she's not known as Du Hoi. Or not known as Hoi Kem, rather.
I wonder what would happen if we called her Karen when we see her. Is that kind of like a personal thing, or?
She might ask you if she could see her homework. Yeah, it's interesting having two different identities, two different lives, groups that know you. And this is true of a lot of young athletes, unless they're playing on TV all the time around the world. And I guess in Du Hoi Kem's case, she is. It's just a question of if her classmates are watching it. It's always exciting to see somebody that you don't realize how strong and talented they are. And then watching them under pressure, playing in front of a screaming crowd. Once again, Hamamoto a little bit late to show up, but not very. The first game was a little bit underwhelming as we expected a little bit more out of her, and now she's really pulling off some huge shots.
Topspin duo coming into the 4 now. Really staying on top of the ball, getting a lot of brush as well for security. Oh, almost turned that around.
Now, just in case anyone's forgot, it's been some time since we've mentioned it. We're looking at all of these players in the top 30 in the world. And Yui Hamamoto, at 18 years old, became 23 in the world. I think she was 36 last month. This is a huge improvement. And then Hina Hayata, world rank number 24. Du Hoi Kem, world rank number 17. And Lee Ho Ching, 26. So the level of play, I mean, they're testing each other every possible way. It's been a little while since we've seen Hina Hayata pulling a Hamamoto out here. Has to get the legs out of the way, both players dropping down. Love that confident let receive back into your own side of the table. Little help from the top of the net. The apologies quick to come up, but it's a 2-point lead as the Hong Kong pair needs this game. It's right near the baseline too. Every once in a while you see a net edge. Double happiness.
I do love that backhand receive of Du's. It's gorgeous. It's tough to read, and it's just so hinging from that wrist, so disguised and versatile.
Inside out forehand again, a little bit of side spin on it from Lee Ho Ching. Doesn't have to be the most powerful shot, but placed well low to the net, and Yui Hamamoto has some trouble. Even the change of pace with that side spin. We've seen the Japanese players comfortable in the fast rhythm. And this one drifts just a little bit too long. Hina Hayata quick to take advantage. Again, the advantage of being a left-handed player in the receive game, you have that corner to step around for your forehand. Pressure starts to thicken. I was thinking about serve technique against Hina Hayata as a left-handed receiver. And what about serving fast to the middle of the table, long out to the forehand side? But we might not see that combination again this game. Mathematically, I haven't done the work. Maybe we will, but timeout is called. So Hoi Kem and Lee Ho Ching, some conversation with Wei Zhang. See how close their feet were to each other. Just constantly hopping around to get solid positioning, not get out of the way for your teammate, but not getting so far out that you're out of position. Doubles is quite challenging. They make it look so smooth and seamless. Paul, I love the first time you're telling new players to the sport, you know, amateurs, you're telling them how doubles works, and they go, what? You have to alternate shots? How is that even possible? But for these players, it's seamless. It's second nature.
That's how they roll.
So a 1-point lead with the Hong Kong pair right now, fighting to stay in this, extend this match. The only way they will win it is in Game 7 if they can get there. Could it be nerves?
Can I have the ball back, please?
Parallel shot pays off. Hoi Kem, instead of going cross court, plays the line. And even though it's not right down the line, the fact that it's a surprise placement catches Hina Hayata a little off guard. She has a hand to face moment. So many times we've seen that angle created. Again, talked early on about role models for Hina Hayata and using that backhand off the bounce like Kasumi Ishikawa does for the angle. And this is a tuck back shot. It's a good a good swing, I'd say anyway, from in near the body with the backhand. And it has been a good thing when Hoi Kem gets that grunt in. She puts in that extra effort, but still, Hayata right there. Look at this one.
Star performer at this point. I mean, look at the angle she can sometimes create, particularly off that backhand side. Brilliant.
Definitely got the coach's approval to save 2 big points now, 2 serves here and a chance to take the match.
Oh,
the edge.
The edge.
I mean, the timing for the 3rd point in a row, this has got to be quite deflating for the Hong Kong pair. From where we're sitting, yes. From where they're sitting, Coach Wei Zhang just trying to keep them pumped right now. Again,
Championship opportunity then for the
right.
Japanese right here.
Well placed in on the elbow, finding the middle of Yui Hamamoto, and we are at deuce.
Well, the Hong Kong duo have saved so many game points along the way today. You could expect nothing less on match point. So locked in at 10 apiece. Quick conflab about what's going to happen after my serve. I want you to go there. Okay, boss.
This one gets away a little bit in near the table. Hoi Kem jammed for a softer backhand. A step around from Lee Ho Ching, just in between, a little bit distant from the table. Championship point back again to Yui Hamamoto and Hina Hayata. The missed contact, Hoi Kem, but the champions, Hina Hayata and Yui Hamamoto, the biggest smiles after the hug that we have seen this entire tournament, 12-10, and tested almost to the max, a 6-game extravaganza. A great win for the 16-year-old Hina Hayata and the 18-year-old Yui Hamamoto to take the World Tour Grand Finals. The Japanese tradition following in the footsteps of Guinness World Record holders, Mima Ito and Miu Hirano, but Hina Hayata and Yui Hamamoto, hugs and celebration, will stand atop the podium later. And what a match it was, Paul.
Yeah, firing on all cylinders. A cracking performance from the Japanese duo there. They just had the marginal edge, and when it counted most on these big points, they came out the right side. So prevailing 4 games to 2, a wonderful performance from Hayata and Hamamoto. They are absolutely delighted, as well they should be. women's doubles champions then. The World Tour Grand Finals. That sounds good, doesn't it? Don't go anywhere. We will be back with the men's doubles final after a short break.